Hi, my name is Bruce Moore. I attended Winnipeg Bible College from 1988 to 1990, and later briefly worked in the college admissions department. I remember nervously waiting outside the door of some music teacher in 1988, hoping I could fake reading music enough to pass the choir audition. That's when I met Henry. I managed to get the bass part of the first line of a somewhat familiar hymn correct, when Henry waved off the rest, pronouncing that I obviously knew what I was doing, and I was welcome to join the basses. I was so relieved as the next line looked pretty tricky. That was the first time I managed to pull a fast one on Henry. Now, I wasn't a musician by any stretch of the imagination. I played a few chords on a guitar, I could carry a tune, but beyond that I didn't have a clue. I figured I should take voice lessons at the same time I was in choir, with hopes of keeping up the charade. As it turns out, Henry was watching me more closely than I thought. He was discussing me with my voice teacher, and after I spent a few weeks memorizing by ear all the bass parts and all the choral bass parts, Henry then told me to move over to the tenor section and I had to start. This is true, and I had to start all over again. So, touche to Henry on that one. My plan was to attend college for 1 year, then move on to something else. I had no idea what that something else would be. But at the end of the year, and the choir toured out east, and singing night after night, and I just loved it. And as we rode the old bus, we passed our yearbooks around for signatures and notes of encouragement. There's only one note I remember from that yearbook, and it was from Henry. He wrote how he appreciated my disciplined approach to music. Disciplined? Maybe I did have Henry fooled. The truth is, Henry saw something in me that I could not see for myself. Henry went on to suggest to me that I was the kind of singer who could do a voice exam. Voice exam? What is that? Henry explained that there were various grades to be had in singing, and you achieve these mostly by preparing challenging songs, and he thought that I could skip the earlier grades and jump right to the grade 8 exam. And I was just boggled by this, but Henry was a musician, not me, so now this is where I think I managed to maneuver Henry again. Because I said, well, if you agree to be my voice teacher next year and help me prepare, then I'll do it. Henry thought that could be arranged, and I figured I'd just beat the system by snagging the most sought-out voice teacher in the college. So, point for me. Now, as I said, I had no plans to continue at the college, but Henry's encouragement that I could be a real musician brought me back for 2 more years. I threw myself into as many music courses as I could manage. I started a male quartet and saw my musical skills expand. I also took conducting with you, Henry. Somehow, in my senior year, I won the Ladies Auxiliary Music Award, perhaps the first time that someone who was not a music major had done so, and I cannot help but wonder if Henry had anything to do with that. Memories are, what they are. So in 1990, the choir was going to England, but I didn't have the money, and I was very busy with my other musical endeavors, so I didn't join the choir. The fact is, I didn't even have enough money to finish paying all my tuition. So as the year came to a close, I was short about $1,500 and wondering what to do. It was at this time my mother offered to cash a savings bond for that amount and bail me out, so I was going to be okay, but then something else happened. The choir was low on tenors to start with, and with only 6 weeks to go until the tour had lost another. And wouldn't you know, the cost of the tour was $1,500. And so I pulled my final swindle. I came to Henry's office and told him that I was interested in joining the ailing tenor section, but I had this inconvenient bill to pay at the admissions office. I suggested that if Henry could convince the powers that be to let me pay the bill later, I could use the $1,500 to help out the choir. Great Britain was a fantastic experience and closed my years as a student at the college. I went on to Brandon University to study music full-time, and now I work as a voice coach in Winnipeg. I returned to sing in Henry's alumni choirs whenever I could, and my wife and I, Deborah Jean over here, she's another choir alumnus, we were so pleased to have Henry over to our place for a visit. I think it was last year, where you popped in. At that time, Henry talked about how he was considering doing a voice recital. he felt fine, his voice felt fine, and his son said, just book a place and do it, Dad. So I attended that recital, and Henry was in fine form. At the end of the recital, when Henry conducted us all in singing the doxology, I felt the years melt away. I was back in college under Henry's instruction once again. At that time, I had another crazy idea, to somehow find some way to get Henry to sing a duet with me. Maybe I could pull the wool over his eyes one more time, but I think he's finally on to me now. The direction of my life has been steered by many people, but next to my parents, I honestly think Henry has made the most significant course correction in my life. He took the time to trick me into exploring music more formally, a swindle for which I can never thank him enough.